pushing us in the right direction. The answer to your question is yes, please. Thank you very much indeed. I'm grateful for that. And can I say to everybody, welcome to Thetford Town Council's Planning Committee for Tuesday, the 9th of March. And this is a virtual meeting, which we hope there will be some members of the public at. And if I remember, I will try and encourage clear thinking and clear speech so that we can all understand what's going on. We'll start with the first item, which is, if I can read the numbers, 850, declarations of any disclosable pecuniary interests. If there are any colleagues now, then please give them. If you want to give them later for a specific item, that's acceptable too. Are there any now, please? Wonderful to obtain a silence that easily. Thank you very much. On to 851. Which is apologies for absence. Do we have any apologies, please?
I had one set from Councillor Hollis.
Thank you very much. That was the voice of Chris Crimmin, who is the Minutes Secretary. And on to item 852, which is to look up the minutes of the previous meeting. They have been through Town Council, full council. So any last moment, any last opportunity to correct anything you feel is inappropriate, colleagues. Otherwise, what we're saying is that the minutes are finally confirmed. It's really, we're doing this, I remind you, for accuracy's sake. And the minutes are passing in front of you. Those who've got them on screen.
Is everyone seeing this okay? I think they're in business.
Yes, thanks. Yes, thanks.
Okay.
Thank you.
Is there anyone who wishes to make any comments to suggest the accuracy needs to be improved? That's lovely. Thank you very much, everybody. So we'll accept those as being a correct record of the occasion and move on to 853, which is the meat of the meeting, which is the new planning applications to consider. The system for those who are, if there's anyone new to it, is that we invite the planning officer, Mark Webster, to introduce each one, and then there may be a discussion. So Mark, it's over to you with 0042.
Thank you, Chair. So this is the Dolphin Inn, which is a well-known site, I know, to everyone. This has already been through this committee and had approval from Bretland. This is for the discharge of some of the conditions attached to that approval. Basically, if you've had a chance to zoom in when these were originally sent and to read through the small print, there's quite a lot of detail, some of it quite technical, referring to things like exactly how the flower beds are going to be constructed and the schedule of works and so on. As far as I can tell, although obviously members may have spotted something I haven't, perhaps, but I think probably the thing that's most worthy of note is, if you can see my cursor here, it marks the provision of bat boxes in mitigation of the conversion of these buildings. So that the possibility of bats using the area is still maintained. So that's probably the most sort of interesting thing to know as far as I can tell. But over to you, Chair.
Thank you very much indeed. As you know, Collins, we have already agreed this originally, and then it's come back because of these small amendments. Are there any comments to be made, please, about these the proposed discharge of these conditions?
I think we just say noted, Mark.
I think you've hit the nail on the head, colleagues, by saying that by not commenting. So I'm going to suggest that we simply accept this and move on to the next item. So, Mark, if you'd like to move on to B, which is what,
Can I
0048.
just clarify that's a support?
Yep.
Well, okay.
We're saying we support it. That's quite correct.
Okay. Similarly, although a very different site, another sort of discharge of conditions or more details about an existing application. The former Tulip Saxon site on Caxton Way, redevelopment which this committee has supported. There's now more details of the materials you can see on the right of your screen, a lot about the materials that will be used and colour schemes for this site. There's also one of the conditions, generally speaking, that's sort of applied as a standard is a standard rate of cycle storage areas per unit size of development. This is a very large building, and the formula comes out with 183 cycle spaces required. The applicants pointed out that the total number of people employed on the site would only be 170, of which only about 40 would be there at one time. So therefore they are suggesting 60 covered cycle spaces and 5 uncovered visitor parking cycle hoops near the entrance is sufficient, and Highways have come back and saying that that is acceptable. They would just like a drop curb to sort of ease the passage of bicycles from the road towards the cycle parking area.
Just to follow that up, colleagues, I must say I think this is a reasonable change. I've have walked around the sites occasionally, the various industrial sites in Telford, and noted how many people use cycles to get to work. There certainly are some, and we want to encourage it, but clearly the numbers are on the side of the developer, I think, here. There's plenty of space if they provide 40. Not everyone cycles. If there's not going to be more than 40 people there at a time, that seems to deal with that quite neatly. They're being quite reasonable. I hope we will feel that's a sensible change. And I'm inviting you, therefore, to say that we support this change. Is there any disagreement with that comment, please? In which case, I think we can say that we've agreed to the discharge of conditions on 0048, and we're going to move on to item C, which is Plan 0226 at Wagtail Way.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. So, yep, you can see the plot highlighted in red there. Here are the floor plans. So circled in blue are the two additions at the top. There's top of your screen is a larger kitchen area, and at the bottom an extension to the study room at the front there. There are elevations also, which I'll just move up so you can see again. And again, the changes highlighted in blue there. Basically, a small addition to the front, and again, not a huge extension to the back, single story, and there's some additional windows again highlighted in blue there.
Subject to neighbours?
That's fine. We can certainly put that, and we certainly agree with that as a general rule. We would notice that the building line is not really extended. It's a slightly odd development in the sense that it's not the nearest house, which sticks out, to put it crudely. It's the next one, but nonetheless, the fact is that probably not an unreasonable change. So I'm getting one or two agreements. If you look at the plan, you'll see that the houses are, and some of them are quite an odd shape because of previous developments and extensions that have been put on board. So quite a suitable, I would have thought, quite a suitable area for that kind of development. The gardens are of reasonable size to allow space for changes. So can we agree with that? We're happy to put in the comment about subject to neighbours and leave it at that. We've got a number of supporters who've thumbs, which is great. Okay, so I think we're saying we support that, Mark, and we're going to go on to the next one, which is D.
Yeah, so Telford Way, got a picture of the area there, and the building in question is this one here. So this is the site to be redeveloped. And I'll just draw your attention to the fact when you come to see the next plan, they're talking about a new entrance to the site, which would be about here, rather than using the existing one for the tyre and exhaust place. So yeah, there's the entrance that you were looking at there, and there would be the new one next to it. So the building that you did see there to be changed basically from just sort of office type facilities into a 2 industrial starter units that would have, as you can see at the bottom there, space for storage and deliveries, showrooms, as well as office space upstairs. Yeah, there we go.
Thank you very much. So we're not awarding architectural prizes for this, which is probably just as well, but we are pleased perhaps that more opportunities exist for new businesses to grow from a small start. Any comments on that one, colleagues, or can we put ourselves down as a supporter?
There's a hand up from
I think Jane, have you asked to speak?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yes, I fully support the redevelopment of this site. I actually had acquaintances that ran a business from here quite a number of years ago, and it is in need of some TLC, and I'm delighted that someone's investing, so I think we should support it.
Agreed. Thank you very much indeed. Any more comments, please, or are we going to follow Jane? I'm kind of recommending that we should do.
Agreed.
Okay, so thank you very much, everyone. We are saying that we support that proposal. And we're going to dive on to E, which is 0252, and this is the Anglin water site.
Yeah, so this is the part of the site on Mumford Road. So basically, they don't think they're going to need to remove or prune any of the trees along there. There will be some potential small impacts to roots, but there will be mitigation measures for that. They are going to lose a little bit of the grassland along there, but there will be some mitigation in the form of wildflower seeding. So basically, the look of the site won't change much. All the development will concentrate in this area here, which is along the road. And this is what it will look like. So elevation A, there you can see. Basically, that's the existing building there, and the only other large or noticeably large building will be this one here, a new booster pumping station. There will also be a new kiosk and 1 or 2 other small structures, but that will be the look of it from the road, which is probably the most significant one. You can also see sort of elevations from the side. As I said, there's a couple of other things going in, surge vessels and also dosing kiosks. So if anybody has the technical knowledge to understand what they are, then they're ahead of me on that aspect of water engineering. Yeah, as I said, the only building of any real size is the pumping station, new building, which you can see there.
More limited beauty, colleagues, but probably fairly well screened on a road which already runs through industrial estates. Any feelings about that, or can we yet again say yes, we're in favour, please?
Councillor Wright has a hand up, Chair.
Thanks very much. Councillor Wright, please.
That was from the last one, but I'm happy to support this.
If you were missed out, then I can only apologise. I didn't see a hand. In fact, I can see no hands at all. I can only see if you put a chat remark in. So I'm a bit lopsided about that. Jane, I'm not sure whether that was a repeat or is that you hoping to talk again?
No, that was me just declaring my support for this as we
Sorry.
have the developments in
very much.
Telford. We need to invest in our waterworks.
Chairman who can't speak and look at the same time.
Not a problem, Chair.
Okay, so we are last chance on this one. We are saying that we approve this. We're supporters.
Agreed.
Okie dokie. So that takes us on to a couple of consultations, really, which is F, which is the Buttercup Close item.
Yeah.
You can say a word about that one?
Yeah, well, just to say, Chair, they're not actually asking for your opinions on this one. This is just for information to let you know that they're basically deciding this on the legal basis of whether they actually need to apply for planning permission. It's purely a small part of the garage to become an office. So, as I said, that's not actually up upon the consultation. So I'm proposing to move straight on to 1323 Tanner House.
Thank you.
Which is, yeah, it's kind of a slightly interesting issue, this. Basically, members may remember that the original proposal was to build a flint wall around the edges of Tanner House where it bounds the car park. Partly because of the tree, and we're talking about this sort of area here now. The developer is now proposing to put in a fencing, so we're awaiting more details of what exactly the fencing would be, and there is also some question over whether this kind of sliver of land, which includes the tree, actually belongs to Breckland or to the developers or to Tanner House. The comments as they stand are that Breckland Facilities Management don't think that they own this. Tree officer has basically asked for an impact assessment on the tree. The developer's latest comment says, well, you know, if we're not building the wall and it's just a fence, there shouldn't be an impact on the tree, so that probably won't be needed. So this is still rather sort of hanging in the air. We sort of haven't got a sort of final answer on this, and I suspect it will probably come back to future meetings with slightly amended plans again. But basically, in principle, sort of to have a fence around this section rather than a wall, possibly inside or possibly outside the tree, and that's, as I said, as certain as we can be really at the moment. I have just checked a few minutes ago to see if there's any further update, and there isn't anything further beyond what you've already got on your screens, basically.
So are we, Mark, just to be clear in my mind, are we invited to support this or otherwise, or is this really, again, just largely for information?
We are still, but as I said, I think just to bear in mind that you may have to sort of make a further decision later. But I think if for the purposes of today's meeting, if members could decide whether they support or object to the principle of a fence rather than a wall along this section.
That is very helpful. Is this really the fifth time we've discussed this boundary? It is remarkably entertaining if you've got that sort of mind. And I think Mark's put it in a nutshell. Colleagues, are you happy with the idea that part or all of that should be fence rather than wall?
Agreed. Yes,
Again,
Chair.
I think I'm going to say, is anyone unhappy with that? Can we put ourselves as being in agreement with that? Is anyone unhappy with that, please?
Yeah. So just to be clear, that would still be wall along here and here, and it's this bit round the corner that would be fenced. So is that a support then, Chair? I
think that's support for quite a limited proposed change, which, as you've already pointed out, may come back again anyway. Yeah. Right. Okay. Thank you very much for that, Mark. I think the next one is a late, is it? So we're moving on to item 854. This is a similar activity, but these are ones that have come in late, and the councillors may have either seen it very late or not seen it at all. I think in the first case you might have seen it, but it's just a question of not missing out on the options that Breckland Council give us in order to comment on their applications. I remind everyone, we are advisory only. We're not making decisions. We wish we could, but we're not. So we're advising Breckland Council on this. In this case, it's on that strange and remarkable multi-sided, multifaceted house called La Ronde on Bridges Walk, which is a little sort of semi-made road that runs down from Mill Lane. And I personally know the family well. I don't want to, therefore, to make any comments in support or otherwise. I'd be glad if others would do so, saying whether you feel that you are a supporter or an opposer, and perhaps giving a reason. I point out that making another archway entrance through the wall, which is actually quite a modern wall, is probably the most most people will see of this. We had a hands up from, I think, was it Chris?
Councillor Harvey. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes,
Thank
please,
you, Chair.
Chris.
So I went to have a look at this because I'm not very good with technical drawings and plans, and I wandered down and had a look, had a conversation with the householders, properly socially distanced, because my main concern was the parking and the car access. But they explained me really well. The car parking space will be big enough for cars to turn round, so they won't have reverse out into pedestrians, etc., etc. And it's a really good plan because you want to downsize. So I would have no objection at all, to be honest.
Thank you very much. Are there any other comments, please? Terry, would you like to make a comment, please?
Yeah, just that I would agree with Chris's observation. It's not overly visible, that location. I mean, you can see a bit of it from the river pathway at the back there. But I think the parking concern and sort of access concern is addressed. It's relatively small new property. I don't see any major issues with it, so I'd be happy to support.
Thank you very much. Dave is saying support, so we have at least three. And Jane, would you like to speak, please?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It's really just on the tree comments, the consultee comments, that obviously highlighting the fact that the site is within the conservation area, and pictures show trees within proximity to the proposal which may be implicated. So yeah, I would like to see a tree survey and arboricultural impact assessment, just to make sure that we don't lose any of our wonderful greenage. Thank you.
I think that's totally appropriate. We could perhaps put in our comment that we are a supporter, but we expect, given what we've seen, that there will be no deleterious effect on the trees. Otherwise, we would like a survey. Is that fair way of putting it? If they want, in other words, if they want to change the number of trees, if they want to reduce the trees, they have to have a survey first. We need to protect the trees. Stuart, please, you'd like a comment? I've got Stuart and then Terry. Stuart, are you wishing to comment again?
Yeah, I just can't get me unmuted. Just in relation to Jane's comment about the trees, I think the mature trees are outside the site boundary once you see there. And I think the ones in the garden which may be affected are smaller and lesser age. But by all means, I think ask for further information regarding the tree works.
Thank you very much. Terry?
Yeah, just confirming what Stuart said there. I don't think any of the trees will be impacted. But if we're going to comment, I just note on the Breckland website, the Tree and Countryside Officer has already requested a tree survey. So if we were to comment, we should basically say that we support that request for a tree survey or an impact assessment rather than anything. Thank you.
Thanks, that's very helpful indeed. So we'll do that then. I'm going to suggest that you, rather than we, have said that we are supporting providing the tree survey is carried out. We need to say that, and thanks to those councillors who pointed out the importance of that issue. Okay, I think back to you, Mark, if there are any further new late developments.
Yeah, there's one more that won't be on the presentation pack if you're looking at yesterday's version, one last minute or last day one, which is Redgate, 35 Redgate. As you may, with long memories, may remember this bedroom in 2019 getting a slight sort of extension to come up to the front line there. What's now happening is that there's a staircase being put in there, which will lead to a loft conversion, which you can basically see there. Sort of quite a small, narrow space there, but with enough for a third bedroom, small bathroom and storage area within the existing building. So the only sort of impact you would notice from the outside is this extra window and the vent pipe just extending up slightly there. So yeah, as I said, loft conversion in Redgate, which, as I say, hopefully you have all had the chance to see, but there you go.
Thank you very much, Mark. I hope, colleagues, you feel able to make a decision on this item, which you wouldn't have been able to visit the site, but I think you can see from the drawings that the basic concept of Redgate being a bungalow area is maintained. I thank you, Jane, for your support, and I think I'm going to again invite you to say I'm going to assume that you will be supporters unless anyone wishes to speak otherwise. Now is your chance, please. Another support from Stuart. And from Dave.
I support it.
Okie dokie. I think we're ready to agree that we support that proposal in Redgate. So, Mark, we've finished those. Thank you very much for all your time on those. And are there any decisions of variance at item 855, please, Mark?
Yeah, there's one which is the Fairfields hairdressers, a conversion of a garage in a house to a hairdresser's. So that's been approved. The town council having objected on the grounds of parking, as you can see there.
Thank you very much. And going on to 856, this is items to be referred to the Greater Thetford Partnership. A two-way process. I'll just ask Jane if there is anything that she wishes to say to convey information from the GTP to us, and then we'll go and reverse it if anyone wants to send anything back to the GTP. So, Jane, anything that would be you think appropriate to mention to the Planning Committee, please?
At risk of sounding glib, Mr. Chairman, you're as up to date as I am with Jack's recent bulletin that I circulated last week, as soon as I received it this time, rather than leaving it. So if there are any items that you do want referred back, we can do that. There is a little bit of time between now and the next meeting. So yeah, if you need to reflect and think and give me a nice long shopping list, not a problem for the next meeting. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jane. There's an invitation, colleagues. It's not now or never. It's now or later, if you prefer. Are there any nows? Any colleague wish to pass information from us to the GTP via Jane? I think probably I don't need to give you too long on that. Thanks very much for that, Jane, and you've kindly left the door open if colleagues want to come back later. Okay, so on to 857, which is to come back again to the application, which has gone in this case not to Bretland but to Suffolk for a quarry. And our concern, you will recall, because we discussed it last time, is the effect on the traffic on the Bury Road, which might be very substantial numbers of HGVs coming through. And in the minutes you will have seen of last time, we asked for various actions to be taken. To put it bluntly, or briefly, but I'll invite Mark to confirm this, those actions have been taken. So just to give Mark a chance to say a word first, and then if there are any comments colleagues would like to make in addition to what's already been said, there will be an opportunity. Mark, anything you feel you want to add to what's been said so far?
No, just as you say, to confirm that the comments as made at the last meeting were submitted to via the portal website for Suffolk County Council for the planning application for the quarry. The Facebook post has gone out, as people have seen probably, and a letter signed by the Mayor has been sent to Norfolk County Council. We understand Brecon Council have also written objecting to this application. And it's the other thing that's worth noting is we have received, another thing I was asked to do is request a meeting between town councillors, which you would all be invited to virtually, with Suffolk County Council to discuss this matter. And we have had a reply from Graham Gumby at Suffolk County Council, who has asked for some possible dates. I have circulated an email which we put as 10 o'clock this Friday, the 12th, as our first candidate, followed by other options which were, I think, 15th, 16th or 19th as possible. So I suppose it's, Chair, it's up to our members happy with me replying to Graham to suggest those as the possible dates for such a meeting.
Very hard to please everybody. Thank you, Mark. But if there are any concerns about any of those dates, then please let us know, and we won't submit those to Suffolk. So there's time to say we can't possibly do so and so. The first one is quite soon, which is indeed very soon, and they all are. So that would be 10 o'clock on this coming Friday. We are slightly we have not been able between us to find a date when Suffolk County Council are going to consider this application. So we're anxious not to be too late. If there may be some indication in the reply that we get from the Suffolk officer about that, but at the moment we don't know. So that's why we want to crack on with it. Let's take that one in particular. Are there issues that you're aware of that would make the 10 o'clock on this coming Friday a bad idea?
Excuse me, Chair, there's a hands up from Councillor Jeremy.
Thanks very much. Terry, is that you? Would you like to speak, please?
Yeah, sorry, Chairman, I put my hands up and then you carried on talking, and I think you in part answered my question. Because I think there's two different issues here. One is the sort of dialogue with both Suffolk and Norfolk, sort of generally, and the other is this sort of formal planning application. And I was pleased that you came on to say that we're looking out for when the actual planning committee meeting will be held at Suffolk. I've had a look at their proposed dates, and there is one towards the end of March, but what I don't know yet is whether the officers will pull together the reports to enable that to be tabled in time. Yeah. The formal process consultation phase has closed now. That was last Saturday, so the public had until last week to respond. I think it's really important that Thetford Town Council is represented, if we can, at that planning committee meeting on the formal application. I think that would be really useful. The only other thing I was going to say at this point is one, just to sort of thank all of the members of the public and councillors who did respond. If you look at the Suffolk County Council planning portal, you can see there are dozens of Thetford residents and some from Barnham who did respond and object to the planning application, which I think is really encouraging. And also one of those objections is, well, we've got Thetford Town Council and Barnham Parish Council objecting, but also Brecon District Council submitted a very detailed and very well worded objection, which was really encouraging to see. What I would also do, Chairman, is circulate to town councillors some answers to a couple of written questions which I tabled at Norfolk County Council, so I'll circulate them. One was around the network improvement strategy and sort of ongoing road issues within Thetford, and one was specifically on why Norfolk County Council chose not to object to this planning application. So I'll circulate them, but that came through yesterday, the answers to those questions, but I'll circulate them by email. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that, Terry. Are there any further comments from other colleagues, please? I think we've probably done what we can on that issue. I'm grateful for Terry's further comments as to where we can take it. And we're going to move on now to 858, which is committee officers update. Is there anything to update us on, please, Mark?
Okay, so you're basically members are happy with those dates, which I'll email those now to Graham for the meeting.
Yes, I got told off pausing too much last time by a person I cannot possibly ignore. So my pauses have been consciously rather shorter in this meeting. So diving in therefore to 859, community engagement. I'm going to suggest we probably haven't got any community engagement items. Am I correct? Or rather put it the way around again. Does anyone wish to recommend any community engagement?
Just before you finish, Chair, I just wanted to make sure that was the dates of the meeting were that members were happy with those dates, which I for me to email through. Sorry to cause a pause. Is for the Suffolk Quarry meeting. Are those dates acceptable? If anyone objects to any of those dates, could they make themselves known, perhaps?
Can you just remind us of the dates next week, Mark? It was Monday, Tuesday, and one other day, wasn't it?
Monday, Tuesday, or Friday next week were the ones. So
again, if I've missed or we have missed any meetings that concern more than one of us, I think we should perhaps indicate that. But otherwise, the assumption is that we're going to offer them a specific time on this Friday or more general time on Monday, Tuesday, Friday of the next week. So right. That's.
Okay. Super. The updates were only I think many members may be aware of this already. The coffee shop on the 11 Thetford bypass has gone to the Breckland Planning Committee. You can see the town council's comments there, and yeah, as I say, perhaps surprisingly, officers have recommended refusal, but those are the town council did oppose it unless a suitable mitigation was put in place for the loss of tree cover. And just to let you know about Market Street, the old carpet warehouse, which was Maltings before that, that will also become flats. That's been approved. And also you may have seen in your literally just come into your inbox, fresh from mine, was the Kingsfleet next stage of development. The Kingsfleet has been approved. I haven't really had a chance to look through it in detail, but the town council did make a number of comments, not actually objecting to the overall scheme, but a number of comments on things like the way the social housing was grouped together in a separate area, and I haven't seen any sort of mention of those within the conditions as yet. So that's the update, and I have no sort of engagement, further engagement, unless members have any.
Thank you very much, Mark. Anyone wish to make any comments on community engagement, the final item, colleagues? I think probably there wouldn't be anything appropriate this time. I'm speaking for you. So in that case, colleagues, can I say thank you very much to our officers, Mark Webster and Chris Crimmen. Thank you, fellow councillors, for taking part and for your comments. And thanks to members of the public who may have watched